Hey folks, welcome to the first edition of the Floor Report. I'm Ryan Mallory and I'm here with Drastic.
How's it going, guys? Drastic here.
So DrasticNFT, and he covers a lot of great stuff about new mints and how to make passive income.
Yeah,
good stuff. There's a few different NFTs that we want to talk about here tonight. The first one, I'm pretty excited about Kawaii Animals and what they've been doing. There's been several different mints, several different NFTs, Zebras, Pengu. Pengu came next, then Beru, Rhino, and then we're going to have AP soon.
AP's coming Monday, April 4th.
And those are in sets. You have to get 1, 2,
3, 4, 2.
So you got to buy 2 APs. I think they're going to be running 0.25 of a soul, but you fill in a collection, and what happens then?
Well, if you get the combination, which is called the whale combination of 1 Zebra, 2 Pengu, 3 Beru, 4 Rhino, and 2 AP, then what's going to happen is you'll be able to stake those in what's called the vault with Kawaii Animals, and then you will immediately get what's called a Cine Whale, which is a 3D NFT, and immediate would be within a couple days, and then though that whale set actually is staked for 30 days. So
very nice, and you can leave it staked longer and more benefit down the road.
Yeah, because there's a revenue utility with the Cine Whale NFT, is that the syntax, which is just taken off in multiple NFT projects right now, to eliminate paper hands and to raise floor price, and this syntax utility, when it generates revenue, will be paying into the passive income for each Cine Whale you have. So with that being said, that's a nice way to earn passive income.
Makes sense. And one of the ways I like to shop for projects is, everybody sends you Discord links for projects. I like to go look around at them, look at a white paper if they have it, roadmap if they have it, and then I like to see the communications from the founders and the admins. How involved are they? And with this project, you can really see guys like Runaway.
Runaway, I Am Groot.
These
guys,
solid.
They're professional. Let's just put it that way. They're what I use as my base in the sense of professionalism. And everybody else, you're doing great jobs, but the communication during the mints, answering questions from Zebra all the way through Rhino has been stellar. Anyway.
What are we looking at April 4th on APs?
Yep, April 4th.
All right, so you'll want to jump over to their Twitter and find their Discord and also find their website to learn more about that.
You can also go to DrasticNFT Discord and get the link.
Find it there?
Sorry, I got to show my Discord
There's
channel.
Nothing wrong with a shameless plug in the NFT world, right?
Every time.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. And another project that we're going to be looking at, MetaSuites.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool, and you're going to do a show on this one with all the details.
Yeah, I'm finishing up editing tonight, and I'll be up till 1 or 2,
cool.
And then it'll come out.
So we're going to leave you with the suspense for that. I've read all their white paper. This one has the tightest white paper that I've read recently. Looks much more like a refined corporate well-oiled machine. The people behind the project, they have programming skills, OpenGL and otherwise, a whole bunch of different programming skills to where they've created these suites. And I toured them. The most recent one, the last one, I think, the Platinum, came out today.
Yep.
So you can tour those things, and we're not going to talk about all the details of the mint. You can check out DrasticNFT on YouTube for that. It's coming up, but I will show you a tour after this.
Yeah, what you did with that tour was awesome. I mean, I was like, you can do that now? And they're like, yep.
Yeah, I could have put 8 people in that room, but I used 2 different machines, had monitors together. I could have done 4. I could have done different browsers on different monitors, but just got them so that they were upstairs, downstairs, looking at each other, seeing the stuff on the walls, because these suites, you can put NFTs and other graphics on the walls to decorate, and it's meant to be either meeting space, family get-together space, get-togethers with friends. People have friends all over the country and all over the world, and just an interesting place to get together. Has webcam, audio, different characters you can use. Looks pretty neat, and a great introduction into the metaverse.
Yeah, you mentioned posting your NFTs on the wall, and that is going to be a passive income source for MetaSuite, where once it goes live, that feature will be live too, and MetaSuite's going to be the basically like the title company between somebody who you allow to list their NFT, whether it's artwork or whether it's a sports NFT or whether it's a Bay Area yacht club that wants to sell through your MetaSuite. And what happens is if it's bought and sold, you get a portion of that for having it in your MetaSuite, which is kind of like your own little secondary market, which is a brilliant idea.
If you ever wanted to own an art gallery,
yeah,
you don't need a brick and mortar shop in the high rent district anymore.
No, but the MetaSuite will be the high rent district in about 3 or 4 years.
I'm hoping so. I'll be checking into that one too, and it's minting for sure. And that thing is minting
Friday, April 1st.
1.5 if you get on there and get on the white list and do what you need to do to get on the white list, but it's 2.5 on the regular mint. Is that right?
No, it's 2 SOL and it's 1.5 if you have that. Yeah. 2
SOL. Okay.
Yeah. The reason why is I'm minting 2.
Right.
And hopefully I get 2 platinums, but that's a long shot.
Right.
Because anyway.
I'll probably hook up a couple of them myself.
Yeah.
All right. So another project I want to talk about is Angry Sharks. And that has ties to Kawaii Animals, is that correct?
Only like through the
network of people that do really well with this stuff.
Yes. Yeah, like Runaway and I Am Groot. Those guys are in communication with Shark Father now it's Slug Father, and they talk a lot. And we have a chat together. There's like 12 of us in this chat, and that's kind of how the syntax has gotten applied. It was through this little communication channel that got set up, and it's really just taken off like wildfire. I'm like, we see it in a couple other NFTs I think that you're going to be bringing up here.
Yeah.
And it's really helping with the floor price to elevate that floor price, eliminate the paper hands, because when they realize that they can list it for above the syntax and get more money, then the floor price rises. And if they don't, then they get penalized on how much they make. So
let's do some terms. Paper hands, somebody that buys with the intent to sell very quickly and make a very tiny amount of money. They're not investing for the long haul.
Right.
They're not necessarily good for the project.
Right, and I want to separate because there are professional flippers out there, and those guys, I love those guys, because what you do is you provide a market liquidity in the sense that you need to profit, but like you said, paper hands, they'll buy something at like 0.2 SOL, and then
they bring down the floor price,
and then like 2 weeks later, like, oh, I like this project, and then they list it for 0.05, and you're like, you're giving away 0.15 SOL. What's going on here? And some of them are rarity hunters, and they just want the mythics and the legendaries and stuff like that.
And the term diamond hands is somebody that's holding it for the long term. They'd like to make diamonds rather than chimp change, since we're talking about AP sometimes here too.
Yeah, right. And so for me, diamond hands is like, for me, I'm holding all my stuff for 10 years minimum. But like in my shows, I'll say if I recommend something, I recommend minimum 18 to 24 months to hold. Because what happens is these projects, technically on the software side, can take longer than expectations in the roadmaps. So you want to be involved, stay involved in the Discord, chat it up, find out what's going on. I mean, it could go quiet for a while. And actually the last week and a half has been really quiet.
Rome was not built in a day, folks.
No.
Hang in there to allow the folks that build these to show their skills, because they didn't get that far by not having any skills. And I wanted to do one more term, syntax. That's a tax when an NFT is sold below a certain level. So when an NFT sets a syntax, you buy one of those, you can't sell it for less than you bought it for, or less than whatever that syntax is, or some of that money gets swept out of your purchase as a commission, and that goes generally into a DAO for the members. That's usually the best use of a syntax.
Yeah, and it allows larger royalties. So if your DAO is paying royalties, that means you're just going to get more pari-mutuel portion of that royalty.
So Sharks was a great proof of concept of that, because Sharks, what was that thing to mint? It wasn't very much.
Oh my gosh.
0.01.
Dude, I've been in like 36 minutes.
It wasn't much. It was less than $1 of SOL. So Sharks went up to 0.093 and, close to 10x, and it will be 10x, 10 times what you had to have to originally mint that thing. And even if you bought some later, like I bought some later to fill in my collection after minting, and I don't think I paid very much for them. By the time I'm done, the value of my sharks is now $450, but they didn't cost very much at all.
No, now didn't you hit whale status with the sharks?
Yes.
Okay.
You gotta have 50 of those puppies.
Right, you have to have 50.
I have 51.
I have 53. But I don't have the most. There's somebody out there with 57. They got me by 4. And my competitive nature is like, I should just buy a couple, but but I'm not going to. I'm saving for their second generation that's coming up this month.
I always want to have an extra 1 or 2 around in these usually, and not to paper hands, but maybe to some like gold hands instead of diamond hands later. You never know.
Yeah.
It can't hurt to have one more.
No. Having one extra is always fun because if something takes off, you can just toss it out there. So
another project we want to talk about is 7 Deadly Sins. 7 Deadly Sins is pretty sweet. I like the graphics from it. They're edgy. They're a little bit dark, a little bit mopey at times, and that's in a good sense.
Well, there's sins.
Yeah.
You got greed and sloth, wrath. Gluttony of all of them. And lust, and it's like. Those are all sins. Those are like, if you max out on them, man, they're deadly.
Yeah, and envy looked pretty rough too.
What's that?
Envy looked pretty rough too.
Oh, yeah.
So each of these sins are based on a different color. They're pretty neat drawings, and they all have an animal tied to them. If you look very closely, they have a tattoo on their neck. Mm-hmm. And some of those are rares, and those rares have... some of those rares have the animal in the background. There's some different patterns for backgrounds and things like that. But
yeah,
there's a different rarity play in this one.
There is. Yep. So don't use like soul rarity or anything like that for the 7 Deadly Sins. They've created their own rarity, and if you go on to, I think it's Rare Sinners channel on their Discord, they'll have 7 posters, and each of the posters have 16 rares. And the one poster, each of them have an animal too. So if you have that animal, that's like a super rare sin. So there's one animal super rare for each of the sins. But all the sinners that are not animals are facing to the right because it's a profile picture, kind of like the George Washington on a quarter, or any coin where profiles looking right or left. So the rares are facing right, the regulars are facing left, and then...
I noticed with the rares, some have masks on and some don't have masks on. And I noticed that for rares, I don't think they had the mask on.
I don't remember any of them having the mask.
The rares I have don't have the mask.
But I do want to bring up, they minted, I think, 5,555 of these, right? Okay, so of the 16 times 7, you're looking at 112 rares, and that includes the super rares. And so if you go on Magic Eden right now, I know there's one for 2.5 soul, and and it's a diamond rare, and I'm like this close to buying it, but like I said, I'm saving my powder because I got these other projects I want to buy.
There's always more projects than cash, no matter who you are.
Right, and so I'm not looking for a quick flip, but if somebody wants to go on there and do a quick flip, you can get that for 2.5 and probably easily post it for 4 to 4.5 and see a purchase within a week. And then there's like
kind of like Kawaii. These are in sets too. You want to collect a full set of 7 if you want to be part of the DAO.
Yes.
And what's DAO?
It's the Decentralized Autonomous Organization.
So we're going to try to do a few definitions along the way in case you're learning this stuff. But if you're looking for passive income, you definitely want to be part of some kind of DAO or royalty system in the NFTs you would invest in, aside from investing in NFTs for their later value.
Right. And then in phase 2, when you have one of each of the sins for a total set of 7, you will be getting what's called, you'll be able to redeem those 7 sins for the ultra rare hybrid sin, which will give you more passive income earning. That's what it says on the roadmap. So if you go to the roadmap, it'll be right there and you can take a look at it. Also, they are going to pay out the royalties in what's called SinCoin. So the $SIN. And so when that comes out, when the royalties are paid out, through the sin tax generation and then the secondary market exchange, they're paying you in SinCoin. So that is going to have a future utility, and that's all going to depend on the DAO, whether they do gaming, marketing, wherever this project decides to go. But they have teed up an NFT project that when the DAO can get a hold of it, these programmers are just going to listen to the DAO and then move forward with it. It's going to be great.
Sounds like good stuff.